is Miss Zep, and I am so happy to come to you today on Straight Talk. I'm a little bit frustrated. I want to show you something. I want you to help me out. That's what I want you to do because I know there's some folks who can help me out today. I had a whole couple of pages of stuff that our new president has done since day one. But I'm not going to talk about that today. But I was going to talk about that. But I promise you, I'll get that probably tomorrow. But what I want you to do is look at, you see this bag? It's just a regular food storage bag. I have it filled with leaves, just leaves that have dried up, but I wanted to make my point. But you see how big it is. I don't know how many ounces this is. I just know this is the size of a bag that I want to talk to you about, and the size of a bag and the amount of stuff that was in the bag. And I wanted to be sure. You don't have to see my space, but this is what we want to talk about today. You see it. Okay. Now, the reason that I want to start off talking about this, but wait a minute. There is something that Donald Trump has done or is going to do that will directly affect the people of Lexington, Mississippi. We are going to talk about that on this Wednesday at the Pink House. You know where that is. The meeting will be so urgent. It's going to be at 6:30 at the Pink House. You know, and Julian, you know Jill. Julian is going to be there to tell us, you know that DOJ, hey Mary, DOJ has been investigating the Lexington police for police brutality. And that investigation has just about ended, and the Lexington Police Department has been found guilty on several points. But our president, the felon, is contemplating having all that thrown out with his new DOJ, that everything that DOJ may have been involved in, may have decided over the past 4 years that Mr. Donald Trump says he's going to wipe it out, quite possibly. We will know how that will affect us here in Lexington on Wednesday. Maybe DOJ will be there, who's been working with us. I know Jill Jefferson will be present, and she will explain what is going on and whether or not we will, whether or not our stuff, whether Donald Trump is going to throw our stuff out or not. So I'm urging you, the community, elected officials, preachers and teachers and deacons, everybody be at the meeting, at the Peak Building in Lexington. You know, Beulah Green, her program is that place at 6:30 this coming Wednesday. You be present. Okay. Now back to my bag. Let me tell you this little story. On July the 25th, I believe, most of you know that I am a personal care provider. I take care of other folk. I take care of people who are not able to live at home or live with family or whatever the case may be. Well, Miss Bernice's house is the name of our facility. Miss Bernice's, actually it's Miss Bernice's Phoenix house, Phoenix, that beautiful bird that rose up out of the fire. Anyway, so Miss Bernice's Phoenix house, we added the Phoenix because there was some white folk and black folk who tried to close us, and they couldn't do it. So we rose up after them, after they tried to do what they wanted to do. And we are still providing the purpose by which God said we will exist. Well, we take care of people, other folks' people. And on this day in July, it's hot, one of our clients came into the house, and I had noticed the strong smell of marijuana weed that was trailing him as he came in. Now, I had experienced this smell before, but he came in, it was extremely strong this day. And I confronted him, and he said not a word. But I had not been able to actually catch him with this illegal substance. I had not. While I'm talking to him, another client, in fact, his roommate, was disturbing me. He pulled me by the arm, and he was strong. He doesn't speak, so he wanted me to come with him. So I absolutely went with him, the guy's roommate. He wanted to show me what it was something about the bed. And he raised the foot of the bed. Hey, Janice Faye. And there was a bag like this. Because I'm a cook, it was a quart food storage bag about this size, and it was filled with marijuana about this amount. I was fit to be tied. Now y'all know me. I don't smoke. I don't like smokers. I don't drink. I don't like drinkers. I don't do drugs. I don't do none of it. In fact, that which will tear down my body, I don't do. And you can't do it in my space. Now that's just the way it is. Ask my family, ask my any of them. You can't, if you're in my space, that stuff is just not going to be in my space. So I was fit that I found a bag like this filled with marijuana in Miss Bernice's house under his mattress. I immediately summoned my county sheriff. Immediately, upset to no end, the county sheriff sent one of his deputies out to Miss Bernice's house. And I told him what was happening, and I invited him to go to the room, the bedroom, of where I found the bag filled with marijuana. And he did. He got the bag this size. He got the bag, and then he confronted my client, whose bed from which he got the bag. He asked him, "Is this your bag of marijuana?" The client did not lie. He said, "It is." "Where did you get so much money to buy that amount of marijuana?" And he said to the officer, "Sir, I cannot tell you." In fact, the sheriff's police asked him several times, "Where did you get it?" He said, "I cannot tell you." In the meantime, there had been a large amount of money, agency money, missing. And when we further investigated, we found that this client who had this stuff had taken $900 that was prepared to go to for deposit. Now we got two crimes. Apparently, allegedly, the $900 that he admitted that he had was used to purchase this. The sheriff's police said, "Did you take the money? Do you have the money?" And he said, "I did. Somebody gave it to me." He said, "What did you do with the money?" "I don't know. I forgot." That's what the client says. I don't know. I forgot. I was so upset with that young man. He's 29 years old. He ain't no baby. I was upset. We later, during the conversation, when the sheriff's police is trying to get him to tell him who he bought it from and what did he do with Miss Bernice's house money. He refused. He would not. The sheriff's police took him with him because I would not allow him to spend any more time at Miss Bernice's house. I wouldn't. So he went with the sheriff's police. We had to do an affidavit stating in writing with the Justice Court of Lexington what happened. We did that. By the time we did that, we had retrieved 300 of the 900 from this client's room from his clothes. The 600 we still have not retrieved. And yesterday, now this was July the 25th, when we filed this with the Lexington Justice Court. We did not go to court before the 22nd of January 2025, 6 months after it happened. You know why we wouldn't go to court? Because the judges that work for Justice Court, there are two, Justice Fisher, Justice Neal, refused to hear the case. I would call every week, when is this case going to be heard? Now, be mindful. I wanted this young man to come before what I thought was a real court to stop him from becoming a candidate for an early death, a candidate from being on the streets selling dope. I didn't want him to become a candidate for Parchment, that is our state prison. I wanted him to be accountable, since he said to the sheriff's police, "It's my dope. I took the money. I don't know what I did with it. I can't tell you where I got the dope from." The sheriff's police. Are you all hearing me? If you are hearing me, give me a thumbs up or something. The sheriff's police said to me and the other staff and in front of the clients, "This is not dope to use." He says, whenever someone has this amount, it is to sell. So this is marijuana. This is dope with the intent to sell. He told him, "You mean you would go to jail before saying where you got this from?" And he said, my client said, "Yes, sir, I can't tell you." And he didn't tell him. He really did. So I thought, do I just ignore this? Or do I follow my heart? I followed my heart because I have a message. We have so much dope here in my little hometown and county. All of the shootings and killings we have probably is related to dope. And these little kids, young folk, not working, absolutely are on the streets. It's about the dope. Now, they ain't got no cars. They don't have no airplanes. So I don't really know. It's somebody behind this who can get it here. But that's another show. So finally, we got word from the justices, Judge Fisher, who said he recused himself. And I'm saying, I can see you trying to recuse yourself. If Donald Trump was before you and you were scared to go before Donald Trump, he recused himself. After 6 months, he said the reason he didn't put it on his schedule because he recused himself. Oh, we have 2 justices in our justice court. So we went to the other justice, Justice Shirley Neal. Guess what? Justice Neal say, I recuse myself. So I'm thinking, well, this young man must be kin to them or something. But nevertheless, both judges refused to hear the case. And I know it's community connections. I know that had to be it. But neither one would agree to hear this case, which is considered a little case with a great, it has a great word about the drug addiction and the drug selling in our community. But nevertheless, they did not hear the case. They did not hear the case. They were asked by the administrator of Justice Court, they would have to give a written reason why they recused themselves, why they would not hear the case. They have to write it. I judge whoever cannot hear this case because, and if the recusals are accepted by, I believe, the circuit clerk, it would be Judge Janie Lewis over them. And if it is accepted, then our circuit court, our circuit judge would go out of the county somewhere else and find a judge to hear this case that I refuse to drop. I just refuse to drop the case because it had significance. So therefore, I waited, and finally, when the judges refused, y'all hear me? When y'all get ready to vote for them, when they refuse, they recuse themselves now. We pay them. The county voters, we pay them to hear cases, small cases like this. They refuse to hear the case. And what is so bad about that Judge Neal and Judge Fisher refused to give a reason why they recused themselves. They did not. This is a county board. They're under the auspices of the Holmes County Board. In fact, I even went to the board, Mr. James Young, and asked him to find out why we could not get the case, scheduled, and he did. And after all of that, do you know those two judges refused to give a reason for their recusal? So on the 22nd, was it yesterday? Anyway, it was put on the docket. Whether they recused or not, or whether or not they gave a reason or not. So it went on the Justice Court docket, Justice Court of Lexington, Mississippi. Hey, Theo. But this is what bothers me so badly, and I hope law enforcement hear Miss Zep today. I'm not going to lie for nobody, and I'm not going to lie on anybody. When we got to court, it was Judge Neal. And I saw him, he was mad because he had recused himself, and he finds himself that he had to hear the court anyway. He came in, 2 minutes, he was gone. He came in, I was there, my witnesses was there, and he simply said, young man, do you agree that you did this? You actually had this? He said, do you think you're guilty? He said, yes, I'm guilty. He says, fine. Time served, which was about 2 weeks, and you're guilty case. I begged to say a word. And Justice Neal said, in essence, Justice Neal said, I'm sure he meant, please clear the court, or he would not allow one word from me concerning how do I guess he was just thinking about the marijuana. But what was it? What's so bothersome? When the sheriff's police, y'all listen, showed the court Judge Neal the amount of the bag of marijuana, and I'm looking for this picture that I want to show y'all. I do. And his definition of what he found in my presence at Miss Bernice's house was just not the truth. He said that it was less than 1 ounce. Now, I don't know. Take a look at this. This is what he presented. This is not, I hope you can see this. This is not what was taken from Miss Bernice's house by this sheriff. I don't know what happened to this. You see this? I don't know what happened to the bag. It was in a bag just like this. What he showed the judge was not this. That wasn't this. It wasn't. Now, this is not no ounce. However this is it. This is, now, I wanted to tell you that to let you know how upset I am. This summer, our sheriff's department had to let go of several sheriff's police because they were drug trafficking in our police department, and they had to let go. They had to be let go. And I thought that was so terrible that the police, who is supposed to be cleaning up our streets, would be caught by the sheriff himself trafficking in illegal drugs. And when this happened under my nose, I called the sheriff and the sheriff's police, thinking I was doing something to help a young man, 29-year-old young man, get his life turned around, be accountable for what he has done, help his parents to know that they don't help him by upholding him, only to find out when I saw this little bag that was presented by the sheriff's police who came out in July, I knew that the evidence had been tampered with. Now, I know that. I am not holding blame to anybody. I am not saying that the policemen that the sheriff sent out there tampered with it. I know one thing that the sheriff told me, that the rule is whenever you see, when you find the stuff, the rule is you have to take a picture of it exactly where you found it. So there will not be any question about how much it was, where it was. The sheriff's police did not do that. Now, I don't know when this picture was taken. It was not taken at Miss Bernice's house. He did not take any pictures at Miss Bernice's house. He did not. So I don't know what that picture is, but this did not happen at Miss Bernice's house. And I want to be sure to put parents You know if your children are doing drugs. You know if they are smoking, because you cannot go anywhere around anybody who has been smoking weed and you don't know it. That's the most horrible smelling stuff you can find. Parents, it's on you if they stay in your house. But if that's okay with you, and I told this young man's father, if this is okay with you, so be it. It ain't okay with Miss Zep. No. I know most folks say, oh, that ain't nothing. It is something. It's against the law. That's what it is. And I say, you don't smoke at Miss Bernice's house. You don't drink at Miss Bernice's house. You don't cuss at Miss Bernice's house. You don't do none of that stuff at Miss Bernice's house. Now you gotta know that. But I know his parents don't want him to be out in the street doing this in case he meet up on someone that would blow his head off. I know that fear is there. But the child could care less. So, Daddy don't want me, Mama don't want me to be in the street, so I can do it at home. He ain't doing it at Miss Bernice's house. So it's okay for him to, you think, to bring it to Miss Bernice's house? It ain't gonna happen. Now, it's not gonna happen. I said all of this to say this, and then I'm gonna try my best to say a word about something else. I wanted to be put on notice. Sheriff, train your officers. You train them. They don't come back to Miss Bernice's house. If they are supposed to take a picture, then he should have taken the picture. He did not. So I don't know where this picture came from, Sheriff. It did not happen out at my facility. So it just looked like something that was put together because she thought Miss Zep would just forget it. Sheriff, Lexington Police, you all do your jobs. Don't let me get on the other side of you that we are trying to clean up our streets, clean up our community, and the police of all folk are going behind our backs, causing the very problem that we're working to help.
102.
I'm upset about that.
I'm good.
And I am talking to Lexington community.
Okay.
I'm talking about our law enforcement.
Okay. When you trying to come get?
Y'all,
I'm
you
actually
all
leaving
are the
at 6
problem.
o'clock.
Because I guarantee you, probably won't know this until I get to heaven.
Where you coming from?
Y'all know where the dope coming from. Every police, y'all know. You know exactly where it's coming from. Sure enough.
Okay. What time you get out of work?
You're either bought.
Okay. All you got to do is
or ski.
Go from Lexington. Go from Belzona to Chula. You know how to get to Chula?
Was
then follow the sign to come to
travesty.
Lexington. When you get
A young man.
okay, when you get down on the
Was
bypass,
at stake.
you
He needed
know what Pizza
to
Time
know
is? The pizza place in
that
Lexington.
he
Pizza
should be
Time.
held accountable.
Okay, well
I
you gotta
say
come.
to his
All you gotta
parents,
do is follow the signs
your
like you're
child
going to
owes
Durant
me
once you get into Lexington.
$600.
And when you see Pizza
I
Time,
want
we
it.
right next door to Pizza Time.
The judge would not even
Put your
let
phone in that
us
pickup.
bring that part of the case up. And then
Say it
I
again.
say to the judges, if you don't
Hello?
want to job, go to the house.
Hello?
Nobody really making you have the job. Go to the house. If you are not going to be fair, if you are not going to be professional,
6 this evening. I'm leaving at 6 this evening.
judges, if you are not going to be that, then go to the house. We don't need you.
This evening.
When we got ready, I was raising my hands at the hearing because I thought I would, since I brought the case, that I would at least be allowed to say something. Somebody gave me a thumbs down. I don't know.
I may be on the air, so
but
what you're gonna have to do with next door to Pizza Time. If you put Pizza Time in your
saying what I want to
navigation,
say. But
we next door to Pizza Time, you'll see I got a white Mercedes truck
when we got
out in front of the
ready
radio
to go
station. Start
after
looking to your left when you get to Pizza Time,
could not
and you'll see the
be,
little road that we down. You'll see my white Mercedes truck out there.
recognized at the
All
hearing.
right.
And Judge Neal, the judge, said, y'all step on out of my courtroom now. How is it that a judge would speak like that to anybody? To a Donald Trump would be treated better than that. And that's how he said it to me. Step on out of my court. Like he was talking to some street thug. No training, no caring. Need to go to the house, and I'm looking you straight in your face. If you might be watching Mr. Shirley Neal, go to the house. If you can't act any better than that, if you don't have courtroom deportment any better than that, Mr. Shirley Neal, go to the house. Go to the house. You don't talk to anybody like that. You ain't no Donald Trump God where you just could say whatever you want to because you've been in the position 90 years and you think can't nobody get you out of it. I still say you are out of order. And the court that you held this week, the court that you held this week was a travesty to justice. Now, I'll see you all again tomorrow, maybe, and we'll talk about what I was going to talk about other than this. Hey, Cousin Benny, Wilma Cobbis, hi, sweetheart. I gotta go. My time is up. This has been Miss Zep, and I wanted to say exactly what I said. But I'm okay, Mary. I'm okay. Period. Talk to you the very next time. And very, very soon. You know what I say. Just say it. I'll see you next time.